Today I'm going to be teaching you how to master Vegas on F124, going through all the intricate details about how to master this very difficult circuit, and then taking you for a full speed hot lap guide after. So getting into the detailed analysis right now. Turn 1, you'll be approaching at such a high speed and pulling the car to the right hand side of the track. Where the curb is starting on the right hand side of the circuit, or the 100-meter board, is the ideal braking place, and that will be optimal to get the car slowed down into turn 1. Turn 1, you actually have two choices on your gear selection. You can either go down to 3rd and get better rotation but slightly worse traction, or keep it in 4th and get slightly worse rotation but better traction in return. In the inside line, you want to be using as much of the inside curbing as possible, bringing your right hand tyre right up to the track limit on the right hand side, and that'll be the optimal line to be taking, and keeping the car relatively to the inside of the track as much as possible. What I advise on your gear selection is, if you have a car that's oversteery, take it in 4th gear. If you have a car that's quite understeery and struggling for front grip, bite and friction, then take it in 3rd gear to help the rotation of the car along the way. Along into what is the second corner of the track, keeping the car all the way to the left hand side of the circuit, and in time trial mode and in qualifying mode as well, this will be flat out just about. It's not easy, but it is just about flat out. What I advise here is it will be entry in 5th gear. If you do not feel comfortable, pull the short shift to 6th gear, and that will make the car more settled and help the car just be a bit more predictable for you around the apex. You want to keep the car as close to this inside painted curb as much as possible, as it's a minimal distance around the corner and will help gain lap time because of that. Pull the car to the outside of the track, and here's a little trick for you at home. You're going to see F1 esports drivers take different lines down here because there is a bump in the track. So what I like to do, and what I feel is best for me, is I pull my car across to here, as this is where the bump is least on the straight, and this can allow me to have minimal friction on the bottom of the car and maximum straight line speed because of this. So when you see me go to the middle of the straight there, that's the reason why, to be honest. And now coming in to what is corner 3, and you're going to be braking just after the 100-meter board, but just before the curb starts on the left-hand side. So you're going to be braking just about here, and that's the ideal place to be getting your car slowed down. Again, very similar to turn 1, that if you have an oversteery car, keep it in 4th gear, as it will help settle the rear axle of the car. If you have quite an understeery car, take it in 3rd gear, and this will help the rotation, using up all the curb on the inside and basically getting your left hand side tires right up to the curb underneath the car, as this will maximize your track limit potential. On the exit, the car will snap away from you quite often as you're running very low downforce, and it's very difficult to get grip around the circuit, but of course use up all the road possible. This is such a difficult corner, one of the most difficult on the track, if not the most difficult braking zone on the calendar actually, because it's so tricky to get your braking point exactly right. And what I like to do is halfway between the 100 and the 50-meter board, so 75 meters. Of course, there isn't a marker board to show that, but imagine a 75-meter board, and that is where you want to be braking and keeping your car all the way to the outside of the track for as long as possible, and then going down into 3rd gear. The curb is very flat here, so you can drive over the inside of it. So the name of the game is basically getting your right hand tires right up against the curbing on the inside of the car, and the same is true here, although this corner will make more understeer as the curb is a little bit higher than the previous apex, so just keep an eye out for that. On the exit of this apex, it's all about setting up the next corner as well, and making sure you can bring your car fully to the outside of the track to maximize the track width, and again using the inside curbing as well. And what I really like to do is get my car as close to this inside wall as possible, and that will just help minimize distance around the corner, and then straighten up my car for the exit and maximizing my speed. Through the easy flat-out right-hander, although there is a bit of a trick here to gain a bit of lap time. Of course, keep the car as close to the inside as possible to minimize your distance, and then as you start flowing into the next left-hander, you want to be keeping your car to the inside of the track as much as possible. The reason for this is, yes, you travel less distance, but moreover, there is some bumps in the middle of the road right about here where you see the one-way direction sign underneath the car. Of course, it's going the opposite way, so it's basically inverted on the writing, but when you're in the middle of the track here, you do hit some bumps and the car will bottom out and cause a bit of straight line speed potential loss, and that will not be optimal. Coming into another really difficult braking zone, what I really use as my marker board here is when I'm getting underneath the bridge, then I will start hitting the brakes, and it's such a good marker board because of course the bridge is not going to move and it's very consistent. So I like to point my car to the black barriers on the outside of the track, as this allows me to keep the car straight in the braking zone to maximize my grip potential. And then underneath the bridge, as we're starting to arrive, hit the brake and then bring your car to the outside of the track as well. This is a corner that you can really cut over and maximize so much time. And what you want to be doing on your early laps of qualifying and the race as well is actually taking out that inside bollard, as it will allow you to gain more ability to drive over the inside curbing. If you leave it there, then it can hamper your final runs in qualifying and not give you optimal lap time potential. As you can see right now, we can drive over this inside curbing pretty easily, so removing the bollard allows me to open up the track even more lap time potential. There is a bit of a technique to doing this curbing, and that quite simply is getting your left hand side tire to reconnect here, and that will give you the optimal line over the curbing. As you can see now in third person camera, there's always at least one tire connected back to the road, so you will not get a track limit invalidation. Of course, I'll show you in a live demonstration in a few minutes once we finish this initial lap, as we're coming down now the strip. And you can have you can have many condiments here. You can have a cup of tea, a coffee, and now as you're going to be opening up the DRS here on the left hand side of the track, and what you want to be doing is actually pointing your car very straight at this moment, because there are bumps down this straight. So if you're all the way to the right hand side, you will start hitting some very small bumps. If you're very much to the left hand side of the track, again you will hit some very small bumps. You might be able to see it just gradually, but there is a slightly rubbered in line down this line, or down the strip I should say, and that's where you want to be, where the least bumps are. You can see we're on it right now, following this basically dotted white line on the left hand side tire, and that'll bring you optimally to the outside of the track. Rising up over the crest, and you're going to be braking about 110, 120 meters before the corner. For this corner, it's so difficult to get the braking zone right. It's really a theme of this track, is the braking zones are so tricky and technical. But 110, 120 meters before the apex is the ideal place to be braking, and you're going to be going down into third gear. What I like to do is aim to basically nibble the inside curbing, and then if I run slightly wide, it's still the optimal and very ideal racing line. The absolute perfect racing line is to basically get two wheels right up against this white line so the curb does not unsettle the car, but you're braking from one of the highest speeds on the calendar all the way down with only 110 meters of reference point to get it right. So to give yourself some leeway room and some basically ability to be more perfect over a whole race distance, I try to basically aim to nibble the inside curbing. Then if that happens, it's very good of a racing line. If I miss it slightly, then I get the perfect racing line. But if I was only aiming for the white line, then if I went slightly too wide, I'm going to end up out here, and then it's going to be unoptimal, and it's going to cost me more time than if I took the inside curbing. So just keep that in mind, and now as you're going over this inside curbing here, you want to basically use up as much of the track limit as possible. And now for the final kink left, avoid the inside wall, and now that is easily flat out. Once again, there are bumps down this straight, and I really want to show you all the little details of this track to maximize your speed. If you watch F1 Esports drivers down the straight during league racing, for example, you will see that we do not keep the car to the outside, we do not keep the car to the inside of the track, but we're actually following this line here with the white line on the left-hand side tires. The reason for that is there's less bumps on this very Pacific Racing line, and that allows us to get a higher speed potential down the straight. And now coming over the start-finish line, again using as much track on the inside as possible, quite simply to minimize distance and to maximize lap time. And then if you're starting a new lap, bring your car to the right-hand side. If you finish your qualifying lap, then of course it does not matter. Now what we're going to do is jump into a full speed demonstration right here with live commentary as well, so I can try and show you how it all looks in the live moment. This time trial setup has quite a bit of rotation, quite a bit of oversteer, and is a bit loose on the rear end. So I'm probably going to be taking the first turn in 4th gear. Look at my meter board, down to 4th gear. Yes, I am. Nice rotation here, nice stable on the power. 5th gear, hold it at 5th, commit to the inside line. You can see the rear of the car is wiggling around. Open DRS, keep the car to the middle of the road now to avoid the bump down the straight. Just after the 100-meter board, going down into 3rd gear this time to keep the rotation high. And now back on the power, using up all the road on the exit. Look for about 75 meters, and now hit the brake down and use the inside curbing again. Through the right-hander, dab the brake, try to get as close to the water on the inside, and that is very nice through there. Could have used a little bit more road, but of course with live commentary it's a bit difficult to do so. Flat through the right-hander, keep the car tight on the left, look for the bridge, hit the brake underneath the bridge, move up all the road on the outside. Of course, the bollard is there because I did a lap restart, but you can see there how it looks with taking the bollard as well and how efficient the curve could be. The car would have bounced less if the bollard was there, so that would be even better for my lap time potential. Opening DRS and now keeping the car following these white lines down the straight to minimize the bumps, and now 110, 120 meters before the apex, down into 3rd gear, and again we actually got that perfect with the racing line there. Short shift to 4th if you need to, up through the gears into 7th, and again following this white line, I should be saying, on the left hand side of the track, and that'll minimize the bumps, minimize the distance for the final apex of the lap. And this is a full hot lap guide as well. So hopefully you have found this video informative, helpful, and it's really going to help you get better and better at this year's iteration of the Formula 1 game. It's a Vegas GP this weekend, of course, so let me know who you think is going to win down below in the comments. George Russell, of course, had a phenomenal qualifying. With all of that being said, yeah, to be honest, I'm going to be a bit short for content over these next few months on the F1 game, especially because league racing is over, and we're preparing for some other unannounced championships, let's put it that way. So yes, I plan to be doing some iRacing, some basically Road to 7, 8, 9K iRating. If that's something you'll be interested in, I'm more than happy to make those videos, and I would love to make those videos for you as well, to keep the channel going, to keep making new innovative content as well, and of course that'll be streamed over on my live stream pages. So if that's something you'll be interested in, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, to be honest, it's going to be pretty difficult for me to keep up F1 content, because league racing is over and all I would have to do is post track guides. And of course I'm very happy to do, and with tutorials as well, but yeah, just a bit difficult to keep the momentum up of the channel without league racing, so iRacing would replace that in effect. So everyone, thank you so much for watching though. I've been Brendon Leigh, and I will catch you in the next video. Grazie for Zatzi, thank you, and yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments about iRacing and basically the content around there, and I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, bye bye.